So James Gunn has officially kickstarted the new DCU with the Superman movie. And through this film, we are introduced to a world filled with metahumans, its atmosphere, and the story of this new Superman. Now, the movie's ending was very interesting. It cleared not just Superman's own doubts, but also those people had about him. Plus, someone appeared at the end, and from just a small interaction with them, we understood a lot. And you haven't forgotten about the mid-credit and post-credit scenes, right? So let's talk in detail about the ending of Superman. Let's first talk about what exactly happened at the end. The third act of the movie begins when Lex Luthor orders the president of Bolivia to attack Jahanpur again. Bolivia's forces are already at Jahanpur's borders, and Superman is watching all this unfold on the news. Superman is about to leave to stop the war, but he gets contacted by Mr. Terrific because Lex is overloading the space portal near Metropolis, and he's doing this just to stop Superman from going to Jahanpur. Meanwhile, we see Lois and Jimmy decode all the photos sent by Eva and explain to Perry what Lex's real motive is with Bolivia and Superman. In Metropolis, Superman meets Mr. Terrific, who tells him that this dimensional rift can be closed with a code, but that code is with Lex. But just then, Engineer and Ultraman attack Mr. Terrific and Superman. After knocking out Mr. Terrific, both of them start fighting Superman. And during that fight, Superman uses his brain and knocks out Engineer and breaks Ultraman's mask, revealing an unintelligent clone of Superman that Lex had created. On the other side, we see Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, and Metamorpho reach Jahanpur and bring the war under control, where Hawkgirl kills Bolivia's dictator and the invasion fails. Meanwhile, in Metropolis, after defeating Lex Luthor's Raptors and pushing Ultraman into a black hole, Superman goes to stop Lex. At the same time, Lois exposes Lex's plans in the media, and Krypto gives Lex a proper beating, after which Lex is arrested. Metamorpho immediately passes the Justice Gang's audition and becomes its newest member. After all this, we see Lex and his clones being sent to Belle Reve, and Superman and Lois's bond grows even stronger. Then Superman goes to the Fortress of Solitude to heal from his injuries. And this time, his cousin Kara Zor-El arrives, who is the real owner of Krypto. After Kara leaves, Superman watches the video logs of his Earth parents and begins healing himself emotionally. So friends, this was a quick summary of the third act of the movie. Now, as you can see, there were a lot of details packed into every part of Superman's ending. So let's break all of this down. Let's start with Lex Luthor. Will we see Lex again in the future? Of course we will. And maybe with even bigger plans and schemes this time. Because Lex is being sent to a facility, Belle Rev, which probably already holds many metahumans considered threats to the state, and many of them will definitely have a rivalry with Superman. So in the future, Lex might be seen teaming up with these villains or manipulating them to try and defeat Superman. Now, let's talk about the Justice League. Yes, friends, this Superman movie gives us a hint of the Justice League. We already saw the Hall of Justice in the movie, and by the end of Superman, the Justice Gang team has started to expand. Now, whether Superman is a member of this team or not is still unclear, but somewhere, we can consider him a temporary member. Or maybe Superman was a member of the Justice Gang, but after learning the truth about his Kryptonian parents, he no longer wants to be part of it. Plus, I was really surprised that Superman was so straightforward that he had told everyone his real name. The team's name still isn't officially confirmed in the movie, so we can assume that later on, this team will be called the Justice League. Because as mentioned at the beginning of the movie, metahumans have been active in this DC universe for over 300 years. So many cities must already have many metahumans, and when they see the Justice Gang saving Jahanpur, they might get motivated to join. So even though James Gunn didn't use the term Justice League in the movie, he made his intentions clear. Such a team is coming. Let's talk about Engineer. At the end of the movie, Engineer is injured but still alive, and it seems like the state hasn't captured her yet. Throughout the movie, we saw clear differences between Lex and Engineer. Engineer's methods were a bit different from Lex's, so now that Lex is in jail and Engineer is still free, she might come up with her own plan to defeat Superman. There are very high chances this will happen, and we might even see Engineer as the main villain in the next Superman movie, a more intense, more deadly variant. But here's a problem. James Gunn had earlier announced the Authority movie, where we were supposed to see Engineer alongside other metahumans. But considering the small role she had in this movie, it seems the Authority may not be happening anymore. So her future appearance is looking a bit uncertain right now. More human than humans. Lex's confrontation with Superman at the end is a cornerstone of Superman Superman's personality. It showed us that the new DCU Superman is not invincible. We saw him lose 3 times in a single movie and heal himself 3 times. So this new Superman is not a god. He's a being who processes the world the way humans do. He has grown up with the same ideals taught by his Earth parents. This movie beautifully blends Superman's Kryptonian origin with his human nature. We saw how much he relies on the Fortress of Solitude to recover, yet how much he now embraces his human roots, healing emotionally by watching memories of his Earth parents. Kryptonians are not who we thought they were. James Gunn's new universe has made it clear Kryptonians in the DCU were not good. Despite being highly advanced, they were tyrannical and violent in nature. And the proof is that even Zor-El, the most optimistic Kryptonian, is shown supporting tyranny, which means when we finally see General Zod in the future, he will be even more ruthless and dark. In the old DCEU, Zod was considered a tyrant by Kryptonians. But in this new DCU, where Kryptonians are already violent, Zod will be seen as a hero, a god among his people. So be ready, because this time, Zod won't be a rebel. He'll be a messiah among his people, believing that he alone can bring Krypton back. And that belief will drive him to never back down. And when he sees Superman, the one sent on a mission not doing what he was supposed to do, the conflict between the two will be massive. Kara is no hero. At the end of the movie, we saw Kara Zor-El. But don't be fooled by that innocent face. She's not going to be anything like Superman. And that's because we know that Clark didn't turn out like other Kryptonians only because he was raised by 2 good people. Kara, on the other hand, is already a Kryptonian, and her upbringing will not be like Clark's. She's going to be morally very messed up. In fact, so messed up that even the world might start questioning if she's a superhero or a supervillain. We're even told that Kara has a habit of going to red sun planets just to get intoxicated, because only there she can feel high. And that's a clear hint at her upcoming Supergirl movie adventure, where she'll meet Lobo, the cosmic bounty hunter. Their showdown in a red sun solar system will be super interesting because Supergirl won't be at her 100% there. Now, let's talk about a stronger bond. There was a bit of tension between Clark and Lois in the middle of the movie, but it ended on a good note, showing that their relationship is stronger than ever. This really matters because the stronger their bond, the more Superman's humanity comes through. We've seen in the comics, if a supervillain wants to defeat Superman, the first target is always Lois. The biggest example is Injustice, Gods Among Us. So the fact that Clark and Lois have a strong bond may be foreshadowing what heights Superman can reach in the future, and also what darkness he could fall into if anything happens to Lois. And we all know that too well. Now let's talk about Bizarro. In the movie, we saw Ultraman basically a clone of Superman. But introducing this clone could also be a subtle hint that Bizarro might appear in the DCU in the future. Also, the dimensional rift in Metropolis had reached Gotham. So in the upcoming Batman, Brave and the Bold, this event might get mentioned, and maybe some supervillains might emerge from that rift, like a Justice League from another Earth, or a major threat, like the Anti-Monitor. Now, about the mid and post-credit scenes. DC post-credit scenes are usually known for being underwhelming, but I'll still say the mid-credit scene in Superman was cool. We see Superman sitting on the moon with his dog, foster dog, looking at Earth. It was a cool shot, and James Gunn had already shown us this vibe before. In the post-credit scene, we see Superman and Mr. Terrific standing in front of a rebuilt portion of Metropolis that was previously separated by the dimensional rift. Superman looks at a building and says, "It looks a little out of place." And Mr. Terrific storms off in frustration, saying, "You want me to break and reassemble everything?" It was funny, but fans also started saying, "That's it?" But this is literally the first set footage ever released from the movie. And how cool is it that this became the final scene of the movie? I hope that whenever we see Metropolis again in the future, we still see that crack as a reminder of this event. So that was the ending of the Superman movie. Now, no matter how divided opinions are about this film, everyone will agree on one thing: it had a lot of material. So now, just wait for our complete breakdown. Until then, tell us, what did you think about the ending of this movie? What if Superman had gone to stop the war instead of going to Metropolis? How different would things look? Should we have seen Ultraman slowly becoming Bizarro in the movie? And did the Supergirl scene also feel a little random to you? Let's talk about it all in the comments. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.